What's up YouTube? Today I'm here with the beautiful Invicta Pro Diver, which has been praised as one of the very best watch values out there today for under $100. If you're searching for a quality timepiece that greatly resembles the iconic Rolex Submariner but comes in at a fraction of the cost, while still retaining a quality movement with accurate timekeeping, then stick around and keep watching, because today I'll be giving you guys my honest, unbiased review to see if this watch truly lives up to all the hype that it's gotten over the years. Stay tuned. Before we jump into the review, I just want to point out that this video is not sponsored by Invicta. I recently purchased this watch because I've read about it and seen it so many times over the years that I decided that it's finally time to pick one up. I'm also a huge fan of Rolex, and since this watch resembles the Rolex Submariner so closely, I basically wanted to test drive it to see if I would even like how a Submariner-esque type of watch would feel on my wrist. Now, Invicta seems to be one of those brands that people either love or hate. I'll get into the reasons why later, but for right now, I'm just going to give you guys a brief history on Invicta, also known as the Invicta Watch Group. Invicta, which is Latin for invincible, was originally founded by Raphael Picard back in 1837 in the city of La Chaux-de-Fonds, Switzerland. This city is notorious for its rich history in the watchmaking industry, and even one of the original founders of Rolex opened up an office there back in 1908. For the next 150 years or so, Invicta would go on to create many exceptional manual and automatic winding watches, until the early 1970s, when brands like Seiko basically brought the Swiss watchmaking industry to their knees during the Quartz Revolution. Invicta practically disappeared during this time until 1991, when the company would re-establish itself under new ownership with goals to revitalize the brand. Soon after this, Invicta would come out with their most popular line of watches yet, the Pro Diver. The Pro Diver is currently the most purchased Invicta watch on the market today, and for good reason. I'll touch more on why this is later, but for now I'll just boil it down to the fact that it's an incredible value for the money, and it brings a lot of joy to people who simply can't afford a Rolex Submariner. Now, this watch is an automatic, and if you're not familiar with what that means, an automatic watch is just a type of watch in which the natural motion of the person wearing it provides the energy to actually power the watch. The exact model that I have here is the Invicta Pro Diver 8928OB. It's a diving watch with an automatic movement and a two-tone stainless steel band. Now let's move on to the size and the specs of the watch. The size of the Pro Diver, to nobody's surprise, is extremely close to the Rolex Submariner. It has a case diameter of 40mm, a case thickness of 13mm, and a band width of 20mm. Now for the specs of the watch. The case, band, and bezel materials are all made up of gold-plated stainless steel, which so far seems to be holding up quite well. I have been wearing this watch now for a couple of months, and I see no signs of the finish wearing off anytime soon. The crystal on the Pro Diver is Invicta's signature Flame Fusion crystal, which is basically a mineral crystal with relatively good scratch resistance. The movement inside the Pro Diver is probably the most impressive thing about this watch. Inside we have the incredibly reliable Seiko Caliber NH35A. It's an automatic 24 joule movement with a power reserve of about 41 hours. It has bidirectional winding indicated by the two arrows on the rotor. I really like the fact that Invicta decided to put a display back on the back of this watch because it makes viewing the movement very easy and enjoyable. Overall, it's an incredible movement for a watch of this price point, and Invicta really did a good job of making it look unique by adding a custom rotor to it. The Pro Diver does have luminous hands, and even though they could be a little bit brighter, they do get the job done and work just fine in the dark. The dial is a very nice bluish violet color and complements the watch quite well. Now let's jump into the unboxing and discuss the features and overall design of this watch. The Pro Diver comes in a nice yellow box that opens up to reveal the watch. I was pleasantly surprised with how nicely done the packaging and presentation for this watch was. Once it's out of the box and you get a chance to hold it, you really get a good idea for just how much quality Invicta puts into the Pro Diver. It feels nice and solid and has a really good weight to it. You'll also notice that the colors are extremely vibrant and look pleasant. Once it's on the wrist, it has a really nice feel to it. It's not too loud and in your face, but at the same time has a good presence on the wrist. I have a pretty average wrist size, and after getting the band adjusted at a local jewelry store, the watch fits perfectly fine with no issues. Along with the watch, you also get the paperwork, which just goes over and explains the 3-year warranty. The inspiration for the design of this watch should be of no surprise to anyone. As I stated earlier, this watch greatly resembles the Rolex Submariner, and I mean almost to a T. From what I can observe, the only real differences in the design are the writing on the dials and the different counterbalances on the second hands. Everything else is virtually identical. Now, to some people this is a huge plus, and to others it's a huge turnoff. I personally like how closely the design matches up to the sub, because it gives me a good chance to really test drive the sub in a way. On the other hand, I can definitely see how some would dislike its close resemblance to the sub, almost as an insult to Rolex. And lastly, this watch is a diving watch, so it is extremely versatile and can be worn with just about anything. Now let's move on to the features. Since this watch is a diver, let's first discuss its water resistance capabilities. The Pro Diver is a legitimate diving watch. It boasts an impressive water resistance of 200 meters, which translates to about 660 feet. As I do with all of my watches, I did a very basic water resistance test, where I kept the watch submerged for about 5 minutes. As expected, the Pro Diver passed the test with flying colors. Feel free to dive, snorkel, and swim while wearing this watch, and there's no need to worry about keeping it dry or protecting it from the elements. The Pro Diver also includes the day of the month pleasantly displayed in the 3 o'clock position, and the watch does have hand winding to give it some extra energy throughout the day. Let's move on to the build quality of the watch. Now, generally speaking, this is not the highest quality watch out there, and there is some very slight quality control issues here and there, but for the price that you pay, this watch truly does provide incredible value for the money. I can think of many other watches out there that cost double or even triple that don't have this nice of a movement or a 3-year warranty. At the end of the day, after wearing this watch now for the past 3 months or so, I've had nothing but positive experiences with it. It's functioning perfectly and keeping great time. The clasps on the band click into place nicely, which makes putting on the watch very effortless, and the watch looks and operates beautifully. Now, just to make one thing clear to everyone, there are better, more original watches out there that will still give you that Submariner feel without breaking the bank, such as the Orient Ray or a Seiko Diver. But they are at least double, if not triple, the price of the Pro Diver. If you are really looking for the best overall value for the money when it comes to a diver that greatly resembles the iconic Rolex Submariner, then I would without hesitation recommend the Invicta Pro Diver. Bottom line, at a price tag of around $75, the Invicta Pro Diver is without a doubt one of the very best values in consumer watches today. Thanks to an overall package of solid build quality, a reliable Seiko movement, and a 3-year warranty. I'll include an Amazon link below so you guys can pick up the Invicta Pro Diver at the discounted price. Last but not least, please don't forget to thumbs up and comment if you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all about the Invicta Pro Diver, leave it in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to everybody. Take care, guys.